Shalom Aleichem. Welcome to our Breslov seminar, a web seminar for Parshat Bamidbar. This year Bamidbar is a little bit early. Usually it comes out the Shabbos before Shavuos. Right? Pasuk Chazal tell us it's a Gemara Shulchan Aruch. Monu v'otzru. Count the Jews, and then you'll have Otzru Atzeres, which is called Shavuos. Shavuos is called Atzeres. Rav Nosson speaks about it in the Likutei Halachos, and he says because it's the fact that every Jew counts. Right? Count because you count. In order for all of us to receive the Torah, all of us have to be counted for, and therefore it's very important that we make ourselves be heard, make ourselves be felt, right? How can you be felt? How can you be heard, right? I mean, obviously we're talking about someone who observes the Torah. If not, they're not willing to accept the Torah. So how do you get everybody to accept the Torah? How do you get everybody to be involved with Hashem on all levels, right? And the answer is, you got to do your job. That's all. Just do your job the best way it is, the best way you can, right? What you're going to do is, you're going to be influencing your neshama. Rabbi Nachman, I believe we mentioned this once, but if not, so we have it now new. If we did mention it, you get it again, right? But Rabbi Nachman says that there are 600,000 letters in the Torah. This is lesson 14 in the Likutei Moharan. And there are also 600,000 souls of the Jews. This is according to the Zohar. So that each Jew is rooted in a letter in Torah. Each Jew has his roots there. So that if I do my job, I arouse the power of Torah. But there are more than 600,000 Jews. So what happens if I do my job and I arouse the power of Torah on high? That power of Torah will descend and arouse the other Jews who are attached somehow to that letter too. So all I have to do is my job. That's all. I have to be me. Right? So now, in a different discourse, Rav Nosson approaches the Medrash from Shir HaShira. The Medrash says, take a look at the Parsha. The beginning, Hashem says, count the Jews. Okay. You counted them, each individual tribe. Now go ahead and put them together under different flags, under different battalions, so to speak. The Diglei Midbar, they're called, the flags of the desert. There were north, south, east, and west. They all surrounded the sanctuary, the Mishkan, right? There were 3 in the east. That was Yehuda, Yisachar, Zvulun. There were 3 in the south. That was Reuven, Shimon, and Gad. In the west were Binyamin and Yosef and Menashe and Ephraim. And in the north side were Dan, Naphtali, and Asher. This is the way the Jews were divided to surround the sanctuary, which is where the Holy Ark is, where the Torah is. Each one had his place, right? You have to be me. Isn't that what we said earlier? You have to be me. Well, each one was given an assigned place. Each one was put in a certain place. Right? I had a fellow once, a young fellow, about 25 years old, came to me. He was a recent Baal Tshuva. He had done Tshuva maybe a half year or a year before that. He came to Yerushalayim, and we met. We spoke. And he says to me, what am I going to do about the first 25 years of my life that I lost without doing anything in Judaism? What can I do? What am I supposed to do about it? So I smiled, told him, listen carefully, don't worry about it too much. Worry about 25 years, right? I said, where were you born? He said, somewhere in the middle of Kansas. All right? Now, if you know the state of Kansas, it's not one of the most Jewishly observant states. All right? It's got a lot of cornfields, a lot of wheat fields. It's beautiful, but it doesn't have Judaism, or very little. And I said to him, well, who put your soul there? Who put your soul in Kansas? I think he said Wichita, but I'm not sure. Well, whatever. Topeka, maybe. But he said, who put your soul there? Hashem. And he gave you to a certain set of parents. And your parents held certain views, and that's the way they raised you. And they put those views into you, and they sent you to school, and they put you in a certain environment, and they raised you and raised you and raised you on different levels, right? You weren't even exposed to Judaism until a couple of years ago, right? So who's to blame for the first 25 years, if not God? Right? He's to be put to blame for whatever happened to you, that you weren't born in a family where you recognized Hashem. So you only have to account for yourself from today for the rest of your life. And that's what you have to be. You have to be that me that takes a look at itself. So every Jew was planted on the east, and the west, north, south, South America, South Africa, Australia, England, all right, Siberia, for whom we know. Everyone is east or west, north or south. Everyone has a place. Everyone has a position within the Jewish nation. And they're all welcome, they're all accepted, and they're all wanted. So the Medrash says, and this is what Reb Nosson focuses on, he says, Kat ad baya ad lotzricha klum. It's the Medrash in Shir HaShirim. He says, when you want to serve God, you don't need anything. It'll come to you automatically. That's what Reb Nosson says. That's amazing, right? It's just one question you have to ask yourself. Do you want to serve Hashem? Do you really want to serve Hashem? Right? How do we know this from? Right? We'll discuss it in next week's Parshat in Nosoi. That's where Reb Nosson is focusing on. The point is, when you look at the Diglei Midbar, when you look at the flags, the desert, how the Jews were set out in all different areas, in all different positions, right? And these went with this kind of flag. And the flag had the color of the stone that was on the breastplate of the Kohen Gadol, right? Each one had a certain color. Each one had a certain genuine illumination, a certain light that shone from within. And that's what every Jew has. So that's what the Talmud is telling us. Monu v'otzru. Count the Jews, and then you can have Atzeres, then you can have Shavuos. Right? This year it comes out a week earlier, but okay, that's acceptable, because we always have to count, no matter which day of the year it is. No matter when it comes out, we have to make each day count. We're in the middle of Sfira, don't forget. We're talking about Sfira. Sfira means count, and you have to count. They have in Sesame Street also the count, right? They have someone that counts. Everything counting is always very important, but you have to know that count, right? You have to make your day count. You have to make your efforts count. You have to make whatever it is that you're going to do. It has to be responsible, and it has to be something where you are accountable for what you do. That way, Be'ezah Hashem, we get through Parshas Bamidbar, we count the Jewish nation, then we separate them according to places. You're over here, you're over there, like a census, not quite a census. They're counted by giving tzedakah, by giving that shekel to the Beis HaMikdash. You can't count a Jew, because if it looks exact, then there's a plague. That's what the Gemara tells us. Rashi brings it in Kisisa. But we have to take a look at ourselves and see how we are, where our values are, what our morality is, and our point. If I do my job, I fit in. That's all. I have to be the moral person, I have to be the good person, I have to be the right person to do the job the right way, the correct way, and Be'ez Hashem, with that we'll be able to receive the Torah. So that's what Parshat Bamidbar. Not only were the Jews counted, but the Levium, the tribe of Levi, which was not set out in the formal count of the Jews, right, because they were consecrated for the sanctuary, for the Mishkan, for the service in the temple, right? Those people are also counted. They also count. Don't think the rabbis don't count, or the little ones don't count. No, we're not supposed to think that way, right? The very end of the Parsha has a piece about the different articles of the sanctuary. When the Jews traveled, they were supposed to be placed within certain coverings. One was a purple one, an argomon, one was a blue, one was a red one, a cover, the altar and the ark and the menorah and the candelabrum, the table. Everything was put in a different type of skin to cover it so that it should not be seen out, because you're not supposed to be ostentatious, right? We count. Every one of us count. Every one of us has value. But you have to realize that your value is vis-a-vis the person next to you. Not to take yourself, I'm important. Yes, you have to feel good about yourself. That's Rabbi Nachman's lesson of Azamra, always finding the good. But you also have to be careful not to be ostentatious, lord it over somebody, make believe you're this and you're that. That's no good, right? So everything is kind of wrapped up in a different kind of a wrapping, different color, because you're a different person. The other person has one color, you're a different color. Everyone has that, right? So Hashem should help that we should learn Parshas Bamidbar good, understand it well, understand the applications to me, that I am important in Hashem's eyes, and I should be important in my eyes. Otherwise, I can waste my whole life. Right? That's no tachlus, that's no goal. Right? If I feel I have something important to do in life, and whatever it is I'm doing, I could serve Hashem with that thing that it is that I'm doing, then you have a very important life, you do count, and with that we'll all be able to accept the Torah and celebrate Shavuos properly.